1. Wake up, pussy. That's right, I'm talking to you. Wake up, pussy. You think I'm being a little bit mean, don't you? I'm here with Mark Dhamma, and he's about to tell you the same thing. Tell it to him.
Wake up, pussy!
That's right. The accent was a little bit weird, I have to say. I'm not sure about that one. But what do we mean? Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. We're all like living our lives and we're all going, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want to make more money. But we're complaining about it. We're saying, why? Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I do this? Stop whining like a little girl. Wake up, pussy, and actually make it happen. Mark Dhamma is a great friend of mine. As you can see, he's chiseled. He's a former Men's Health model. He's trained Rita Ora, the pop singer, a couple of the members of HBO's hit series Game of Thrones. He's a personal trainer here in Hollywood, California. What do we mean when we say wake up, pussy, Mark?
Well, like you just said, James, I've got myself, I've got friends, we all know people who really want certain things in life, or at least they say they want certain things. They say they want to be healthy, they say they want to be fit, they say they might want to have six-pack abs, they say that they want to have more money, or they say that they want to have a different career, or they've got big dreams in the life that they want to attain, they have maybe even a big vision for the life, yet they don't do anything about it. So wake up, pussy. James actually came up with that. It wasn't my idea, but yeah, wake up, pussy is like, hey, this is your life, right? We're not going to live forever. One of the big wake-up calls for me, I guess my wake-up pussy moment, was when my father died at 21. Wow. When I was 21, he was actually 56. I was 21, and it was totally out of the blue, totally unexpected. He was actually playing cricket at the time.
Really?
Yeah, he was playing cricket, played every year. He actually did nothing all year, just sat on the couch and watched cricket. And then when a cricket season came, my dad's from the Caribbean, the West Indies, so he was a huge cricket fan. So when the cricket season came along, then he'd play cricket, okay? So he'd be inactive for the whole year, do nothing, and then he'd go straight back into cricket. Anyway, one summer, cricket came along, he hit the ball, went to run, and then boom, just dropped dead. Wow. That was the last I saw of my father.
Wow.
And what that did for me was that made me realize, holy shit, if my father can pass away just like that, and for most guys, the dad's a hero, my dad was certainly my hero, if my father could just die like that, that was a huge wake-up call to me and made me realize, oh shit, if he can die, I definitely am gonna die.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to describe. I mean, all of us know, we're human beings, we all know that we're gonna die one day. But I talk about there's a difference between knowing, and there's a difference between truly understanding that that's what's going to happen to you. And I think when my father passed away, it was such a wake up, if you like. For me, it was such a wake up. It made me reevaluate my whole life and think, man, I don't know how long I've got on this earth. So what am I going to do? How am I going to live my life? At the time, I was a drug dealer. I was selling all types of Class C drugs, steroids, growth hormones, fat burners.
Where were you doing this? Was this in North England?
Yeah, I was in England, in North England.
How young were you?
I think I started when I was 20 or 21.
Okay.
My father passed away when I was 21, and but it just made me reevaluate my whole life. Was I living my life, or was I living someone else's life, what someone else wanted for me?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing was, I was selling drugs on the side, and the other thing I was pursuing a career in, it was actually property, it was real estate. I was pursuing a career in real estate, and I realized that wasn't my dream. That wasn't my dream for my life. That was actually my parents' dream for me, to have a good office job.
Right.
Have an office job, and it was a wake-up call. So we're wanting this to be a wake-up call for you.
Yeah.
We're also going to give you some practical tips too.
Yeah, so I'm actually, as we're recording this, I'm about to turn 40. In fact, by the time you watch this, I'll be 40. But I got to tell you, I mean, I've done a lot in my life. I've lived in England, I've lived in the US, I've been out, lived in Colombia and Argentina, I've hosted a TV show. I haven't really wanted for anything, you know, like everything I've wanted to do, I've achieved and I've done it. But I gotta say, around turning 40, it's funny because all of a sudden I'm like going, wake up, James. Because even though I feel like I've been playing on a pretty high level, I also know I'm leaving a lot on the table. So for me, these last couple of months as 40's been coming up, I think that the helicopters are above. They found us, Mark. They found us.
Right.
Let's get out of here. This is just another dull day in Hollywood, California, where you got the choppers coming in and the SWAT team's going to fall down in a second. But yeah, the last couple of months I've been like going, not having a midlife crisis, but I've been evaluating my whole life, and I realized that I've been sitting on my hands for too long. Like I've just been playing on a small time level. I haven't been playing on a big time level. There's a great book by an author called Charles Schwartz who wrote a book called Think Big, or Thinking Big, I think it is. And one of our mutual mentors, Ty Lopez, I work with him a few days a week, and he just thinks big.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a big.
Yeah.
And so that combined with the fact that this time in my life, I'm about to be 40, it's like I gotta wake the F up, man. I gotta wake the F up in my health, even though I consider myself to be very healthy. I gotta wake myself in my productivity. I gotta wake myself up in what relationships I want. I gotta wake the F up in terms of what I want for my life and setting goals, because I feel like compared to where I could be, I'm just like walking through, like sleepwalking a lot of the time, even though I'm not compared to the average person, I still feel that way. So how do we do this? Like we're talking about mind transformation, we're talking also about body. Maybe let's deal with mindset first and then we'll go into body. So what are a couple things that we can do, Mark, to really wake ourselves up and live at like optimum performance in terms of our mindset?
Well, okay, so I've got a master's in positive psychology, so we do a lot about like mindset, how you can be at your best. But I'm just going to give you the most powerful way I know right away. Mm-hmm. The most powerful way I know to wake the hell up and to get into a state of high performance is surround yourself with high performance people.
Right.
You're already woken up. Changing your social circle will transform your life on every level. And I get asked to do a lot of talks, a lot of talks about health, a lot of talks about fitness, a lot of talks about psychology and positive psychology. I travel all around doing these talks, and I always, give some great information, some health tips, some mindset tips, which I'll share with you on this video too, where you can apply immediately to your life. Some mindset tips, but at the end, I always give this tip. I said, you know what? But would anyone like to hear a shortcut? Yeah. Would you want a shortcut to everything I've just said? And that shortcut is surround yourself with people you would want to be like. People at a higher level. Because if you do, you cannot help for that to rub off you and be influenced by those people.
Right.
Like James, you did that for me. About a year ago, we was talking about coaching about a year ago. When I first met James, maybe a bit longer than a year ago actually.
What did I do? This is good. This is going to hit praise on me. I like this part of the interview.
Well, I was offering certain coaching services at the time, and people weren't really taking my coaching too seriously. I was giving people advice, and they take some of it, and other times they wouldn't. And I changed like a little bit of business model that I was doing, which seemed to be working all right. And I remember saying to James, like, hey James, I'm coaching people around optimal health, about psychology. I'm doing all this Skype coaching around the world with different people. And I said, good. A model that I'm using, which seems to be working, is like a subscription service. They pay X amount a month, and then they get unlimited coaching sessions, or they get 3 coaching sessions a month.
Right.
And I find that it's building a great relationship with my clients. We get to work over a period of time instead of just like 5 sessions or 1 session or 12 sessions, And I was sharing that with James, and James said, oh yeah, I've been doing some coaching. I'm not going to say how much. He goes, yeah, I charge like, I'm just pick up a number, but he's like, I charge like 10 grand for like 5 sessions or something. And he was like, and it's going all right, but I like your model. And he said, like, what's your rates? And I was like,
because it was a lot smaller.
Yeah, I was like $500. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was something like that. And it just made me realize how much I was It was like, wake the fuck up, Mark. It was like, wake up. What level are you playing at here? Are you going to charge a premium price and deliver a premium product, or are you going to deliver, charge a lower price and deliver a lower product? It just woke me up. I was like, holy shit, well, what am I doing?
Well, let me flip. I understand that. Let me flip it back on you. Ever since I've met Mark, I've been playing on a higher level with my health and my fitness. I mean, I've studied everything to do with health and fitness, but just by being around Mark and seeing like how big and strong he is and seeing his eating habits. For example, right now, in fact, Adam, just off camera, can you just bring that bowl here? So Mark's come over to my apartment to film this. And Mark brings food with him. So he brought in here, what was this? Chicken and avocado.
Chicken salad, yeah.
Chicken and salad, homemade chicken salad. We've demolished it, obviously. But he brought this with him. So he takes this around Los Angeles with him so he can eat it at a certain time and so ensuring that he doesn't eat crap food, right?
Yeah.
So even just that, I'm looking at that going, when he brought that in, I was like, first of all, I was like, oh, why do you do that? And then he explained, and now all of a sudden I'm thinking, how can I optimize my eating habits from this point on? So just coming back to our initial point here, surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people who are experts in what they do, or who are 20 years into the future about where you want to get to. And even if they're not 20 years ahead of you, or maybe they're younger than you, if they're an expert, or they're 10 times more of an expert on that subject than you, then spend as much time as possible around those people. Give them value, reach out to them, bring them into your social network, help them out, and all that stuff just rubs off like osmosis. Okay, so that was the first point, Mark, which was surround yourself with quality people. Let's do one more, and then we'll move on to some physicality stuff. Okay,
so wake up, mindset stuff, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, another, you talk about reading books a lot.
Yeah.
That's a great way. I want to talk about books a second.
Okay.
Because talk about the one a day thing.
Yeah, so Ty Lopez taught me how to read a book a day. He's very well known for that. And if you're watching this and you haven't done his 67 steps, then just go to jamesswanwick.com/67 steps. You can watch his Lamborghini video. It's very famous. But he really ingrained in me, read a book a day. And I was actually the first person that he successfully taught to do that.
Yeah.
And since then, my mind has just exploded. I mean, I have literally I understand things to do with willpower, to do with self-discipline, to do with meditation, to do with business, to do with my health. I'm just a vast array of knowledge. Now, I'm not a vast array of knowledge so I can sit at a dinner party and go, oh, you know what, I read this book the other day and blah, 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 and like pretend that I'm so knowledgeable because I can recite all these books that I read and because I read a book a day. That's not it. It's actually implanting knowledge into your brain and then being able to take action on that knowledge, okay? So for me, certainly, I've had the most productivity in terms of my business life and my health life since I ingrained that habit, that daily habit of reading a book a day. Sometimes I do an hour, sometimes it's just 5 damn minutes. But even if it's 5 minutes, it's still something and it's still progressing me forward. What do you read, Mark?
So I read a lot of positive psychology books because, that's what I study, right? And that's what I teach. That's what I actually use myself for my own mindset, and that's what I work with my clients a lot, positive psychology. So one thing, there's a book called Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman, and that book really transformed my life and a lot of people I've worked with. Dr. Martin Seligman's one of the founders of positive psychology, and I lived a lot of my life being a realist, if you know what I mean. And what I mean by realist is I could see what could go wrong in life, all the downsides to life, things that weren't working, potential problems that could crop up. And some people call it pessimism. At the time I called it realistic. And what Dr. Martin Seligman actually talks about in the book Learned Optimism is, if you could wish one psychological trait in your child out of everything we know about positive psychology, so the psychology of human performance, the science of human flourishing, out of everything we know, if you could just have one wish for your child or even yourself, because it leads to the most positive outcomes over a lifetime, that wish is that your child or yourself is actually optimistic.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one thing, optimism. So how do you become optimistic? What do I mean by optimistic? This is so powerful, this tip, training your mind to be optimistic, and it's so powerful yet so simple that many people just take it for granted. Okay? We live in a world where there's positives and negatives, right? Bad things might happen, good things might happen, but we choose. Okay, we label things good and we label things bad. Okay. Now, if you can actually live a life not with an unrealistic assumption, not like Hollywood happy, where you have an unrealistic assumption that everything's going to work out in your life, and you're only ever going to experience fantastic things, and you're going to win an Oscar even though you just landed in LAX today, and you're going to win it in the next year, or you're going to make $1 million within a year. Not that it can't happen, but if you convince yourself that no matter what it is going to happen, then it might be a little bit unrealistic. But if you can live your life with general optimism, generally with like a slightly positive focus, a slightly positive tilt, that things are going to work out for the best, just having this slightly positive tilt, this optimism we say, and just living a life like that has been shown to increase happiness, reduce stress, increase the longevity of your life, reduce your risk of actually diseases like heart disease and so on. So next time you're in a situation and you can see the positives and negatives, and you can look at the pessimistic view and the optimistic view, then one of the keys to optimal mindset is actually try looking at it with an optimistic lens.
Yeah, it's funny, since I started writing in a gratitude diary every morning for the past year, I've realized that I've become a lot more optimistic. Now, but having said that, it's funny, when I wake up, at least the last 2 months as 40's been approaching, when I wake up in the morning, my first thought in the brain goes to negativity. It's like, I'm not doing enough, or I should have woken up a little earlier, or I'm not enough. It's amazing how the human brain always wants to go back to the default, which is I don't have enough, or I'm not as successful as I should be, or I'm not happy because of this. That's what actually happens in my mind.
I've got a question for you.
In the first 5 minutes. And let me finish this first, and then you can ask me. And then when I get up and I get my gratitude diary and it asks me, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? And I write it out, and then it says, what would make today great? And I write it out. All of a sudden my brain goes from this default of negativity, and the needle starts moving like this. It starts moving, to the point where then when I get up finally and I'm starting to do stuff and moving around, I'm now more over here on this optimistic side. I'm looking at opportunity rather than lamenting the obstacles. Ask me the question, Mark.
I was going to ask you, James, where, it's a personal question, but I mean, he's one of my best mates, can ask each other.
It's one of the best mates. We can ask this in private in front of thousands of YouTube followers and podcast listeners, and on Periscope live. Yeah, of course. Go for it, Mark.
Where do you think that comes from? That default negativity. Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's... Maybe you've got some insight for me on that. Maybe it's wanting to be enough, to feel needed, to feel like I'm worth a damn. Maybe it's trying to be better than other people. There's some competitive nature to me. I don't know. I'm not sure where it comes from. What could it be, Mark?
Well, a lot of our internal programming. Yeah. So we've waking up on what's going on in our mind, what's our self-talk saying to us. All of our internal self-talk, our programming, if you like, comes from our past, from past experiences. And the strongest programming, the thing, that strongest self-talk that's been there forever, usually it comes from very early childhood experiences. So with our parents, with our at school, our experiences in those formative years, up until we're 11, 12 years old. Now, we get programmed through negative experiences, positive experiences, what our parents said to us, what our friends said to us, what bullies said to us, what our spouses have said to us. We get all these experiences over time, all this programming, but usually the most powerful programming occurs when you're younger. And of course it adds up over time. But when you wake up in the morning and you've got talk and you're defaulted to negativity, then usually it's unconscious programming from the past.
Yeah. So something's happened in the past, obviously, that I'm not quite aware of. Otherwise I would have been able to answer your question right away, right? But there's something in the past that's then my natural default when I wake up in the morning is oh, I need to be doing more. Oh, this hasn't been enough. So how do I get to that? How do I figure that out? How do I de-ravel that? And should I do it, or should I just keep always going into the optimistic side?
Yeah.
And just acknowledge that I'll always have that default.
Yeah.
And just get better at handling it.
Yeah, that's really good question. There's two schools of thought that I'm aware of. You got one school of thought which is, let's sit down, let's, use some type of psychological intervention and get really deep and find out what that is. Like what happened when you was younger or other experiences, and let's shift it. So neuro-linguistic programming is a tool that people may use, or other people use, psychiatrists to get deep and unravel it all. Some people use like hypnotherapy, for example, to rewire your brain in that way. But then there's another school of thought, which like people like Tony Robbins recommends actually. They're like, forget about it. You don't need to know what happened. You don't need to know how you got conditioned that way. You just need to recondition your mind to think a different way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're doing. So if you're waking up in the morning and then you're reading the gratitude, and if you remember the mind training program that I sent you, okay, and also there's actually a free video training series I'm doing right now where they get that mind training program for free with it.
Yep.
But if you condition your mind in the morning, every morning by writing in your gratitude journal, maybe going for a walk, thinking about what you can be grateful for, visualizing what you want to achieve that day and in the future, then even positive affirmations.
Yeah. Positive affirmations is great as well. So we're talking to Mark Dhamma here. Okay, he's a Hollywood personal trainer and neuro-linguistic programming expert. He's helped me get right with my mindset. In fact, if you want to get some of his free training where he's going to reset your mind and body, we're going to talk the physicality in a second. You can actually go to jamesswanwick.com/warrior and you can get his free training that way. Or if you're on a cell phone, you can text the word wake up, one word, not two words, wake up, to the number 33444. Okay, so text the word, literally go on your phone and to the number 33444, just type in the word wake up, and you'll get a text message back with a link, and you can do some of Mark's free mental training, mindset training. So let's move the conversation. And by the way, as we're recording this, we're actually recording live on Periscope. Mark Dhamma's Periscope is Mark Dhamma, MarkDhamma. Make sure you follow him there. My Periscope is James Swanwick, JamesSwanwick. If you are watching this live on Periscope, go ahead and ask a question right now. In fact, why don't we just bring this in here? We're going to bring this in while we're filming. Whoops, hang on, let's have a look here.
Oh, good job, James.
Yeah, very clever, wasn't it?
We've got two tripods going on, we've got two things going.
So we've got Periscope here at the moment. So we're going to ask some questions. I'm going to England for a soccer football academy on Friday. Mark, any advice?
Yeah. When you visualize,
so
I don't know which one I'm looking at.
You're going to look back into there.
Okay, I'm going to look back to that. All right, okay.
Periscope back here. You answer the question.
All right, so someone's going to a soccer training academy in England. Any advice? Well, first of all, mental advice would be to visualize yourself.
Come back a bit.
Visualize yourself going to that training academy and visualize yourself being awesome. I mean it. This is straight out of sports psychology. This is not woo-woo stuff. Visualize yourself using your soccer skills and being fantastic. Visualize yourself turning up to the door at that soccer academy and feeling absolutely confident, feeling like at your best, like Cristiano Ronaldo level. And when you turn up, you're going to be at your best. So visualize it in advance. So that's a mindset one.
I prefer Lionel Messi to Ronaldo, to be honest, Mark. But carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
I'm a United fan, so I always got a thing for Ronaldo.
I'm a Tottenham fan. So
I don't know how that happened.
I don't really have a great world-class player to mention there. Come on.
Right. The other thing is, it's a really simple tip, and everybody knows this. So it's a health tip, performance tip, super simple, everyone knows it, not everyone executes, and that is make sure you're hydrated.
You know what, it's funny, I have the 30-day no alcohol challenge, which teaches people how to quit alcohol, and I was researching celebrities around the world and what they say about alcohol, and Ronaldo doesn't drink alcohol. Okay,
that doesn't surprise me.
He doesn't drink alcohol at all, and one of the things he says is make sure you're always hydrated. So he drinks like copious amounts of water. and he credits that with him being able to stay in the peak fit condition that he is in. I know it's so simple. It's like, well, really, I'm going to pay like $10,000 for someone to tell me to drink lots of water? But guess what? We humans, we like to overcomplicate things. Things are very, very simple. Get lots of sleep, eat properly, exercise regularly, and drink a lot of water. All right.
Adam, could you grab me the water real quick?
So let's do one more.
I just want to talk about water. One last thing.
Okay.
How much water should you drink? How do you know how much water you should drink? All right. Well, this is my water bottle, my trusty water bottle. I carry it everywhere with me. Easy way to figure out how much water you should drink is figure out your body weight in pounds. So I'm like 210 pounds. Cut it in half. So that's 105. Turn that into ounces. 105 ounces, that's the minimum amount of water I should drink a day. Minimum, all right? So this is a 64 ounce bottle. I carry this around with me all the time. If I drink all of it, it's 128 ounces. I know that I'm gonna hit my minimum amount of water per day by drinking 2 of these.
Nice.
And this, you talk a lot actually about cues. This is a visual cue for me.
Yeah, so visual cue for me is the way that I do exercise regularly is that I get my exercise clothes ready the night before and I put it at the foot of my bed. And so when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I see are my exercise shorts, my exercise shirt, my shoes, my socks. And so what do? Well, after I go to the bathroom, obviously I go in and I go. I put my exercise clothes on and like a sleep slugger, and then guess what? It's almost impossible for me not to go to the gym because I'm dressed in my gym outfit. Yeah. Whereas when I don't do that, I'm more inclined, and I haven't prepared my clothes the night before. It's like, oh, it's annoying. I've got to find my shoes. Where are they? And there's no visual cue, so I'm less likely to actually exercise.
Yeah.
So create the visual cue of having a big water bottle around your house. Put your exercise clothes at the foot of your bed as well. Remove visual cues as well, like alcohol. If you're doing the 30-day no alcohol challenge, remove alcohol from sight. Or if you're going to reduce your alcohol, the alcohol you do have, put it in the back of the fridge, like on the top shelf or the bottom shelf, so when you sort of kneel down like this to look what's in the fridge, it's out of eyesight. You've literally got to go all the way down to be able to actually see it. Mm-hmm. Just removing those visual cues or adding visual cues can totally transform your life. So we're talking to Mark Dhamma here, Hollywood personal trainer. If you want to get his mindset technique, what do you call it? What do you call free training?
So the free training, basically I've put together a free video training series. In it I talk about how to eat for high performance, how to train for high performance, including a 4-second secret trick to build more muscle and burn more calories in like less time. And I also include positive psychology tips that you can ensure right now.
So to get that, Mark's training, just go to jamesswanwick.com/warrior, or you can text the word wake up, one word, to the number 33444, okay? Mark, thanks very much, man. This has been great. The sun has stopped shining on us now. When we started this, the sun was kind of shining out. Oh, sorry. That was very rude. So, well, let's take, just before we wrap this up, we'll take another question on Periscope. So if you're following me on Periscope, it's James Swanwick, SWANWICK, and if you're following Mark, it's Mark Dhamma, DHAMMA. Is there a question there, Mark? Can you read? Yeah, 1 second. Go for it.
Mouth was full. Sports guy was asking Mark, is there a tea that you can recommend to help calm your mind? It's a really great question. I personally like chamomile tea to help me relax and calm my mind. It's super popular, easily available. I always go for organic, the highest quality you can find. Also, if I'm really, really trying to relax, like let's say I want to go to sleep, I also get valerian tea, valerian root tea, and that really helps you relax your body and might even make you feel a little bit sleepy. So that's the answer to that question. Any other questions from Periscope for me or James?
Yeah, so this has been fun, Mark. Well, we'll wait for one more question to come through and then we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
Here we go. What do we
Best way to get over a breakup, James? You're the relationship expert.
You're looking at me as if like I've been broken up a lot of time. and then therefore I'm so experienced in being dumped by a woman that I should.
Well, you're almost 40, so I figure you got a bit of experience in the same.
So what was the question? The best way to get over a breakup?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you the worst way to get over a breakup. The worst way is to sit on the sofa and eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream and feel sorry for yourself and watch crappy movies and cry into your pillow every night and not go out and look at photos of your ex and talk about your ex all the time and just walk around with your shoulders forward like this going, oh my God, I'll never find love again. That's the worst thing you can do. Now, the best thing that you can do, clinically proven, okay, Helen Fisher, who wrote the book Why We Love, okay, I read this book, the best thing you can do is change your physical state. So that means get sunlight. Vitamin D makes you happy, right? So get out. Exercise creates endorphins, releases dopamine, releases serotonin. You cannot help but improve your mood. Remove all photos of the recently departed. What I did when someone broke up with me a few years ago, I kept the photos in my phone and I kept looking at it for like a year, and it was a disaster, man. I was like this, and it was only until I removed them completely that I was able to then move on mentally.
Yeah.
So you have to get rid of the photos. You just have to. Also, go to new environments. So if you always go to the same supermarket, go to a different supermarket. If you always go to the same restaurants, go to a different restaurant. You have to change your environment all the time, because when you change your environment, you get new dopamine release, you get new levels of serotonin, you get new experiences. When you go and join new social groups and hang out with new people, then all of a sudden your happiness levels goes from being depressed up to here. And doors of opportunity open up to you. So do not lament. I mean, it'll be hard for you to do so. There's going to be a grieving process, right? Because there is this attachment theory where you're with someone for all this time and then all of a sudden you're not with them anymore and you long for that person. That's natural. You're still going to feel that. But your reaction to that feeling is what's going to dictate whether you're going to be happy soon or whether you're going to be happy like a year down the road. So get up, new environment, vitamin D from the sun, exercise, good health, nutrition, workout, new friends, new environment. There's someone better for you waiting right around the corner. Mark Dhamma, let's wrap it up. Thanks, brother. This was awesome. Make sure you follow Mark on Periscope at Mark Dhamma, me on Periscope at James Swanwick. Get his mind training routine by going to typing the word wake up to the number 33444 or go to jamesswanwick.com/warrior. We'll catch you on the next one.
Peace. What up, Periscope?